I didn't want to go on another weight loss journey which just felt like suffering and struggle. No, I don't necessarily meal prep as in like portion sizes for every meal of the week. I am not there. I don't think I ever will be, because something about eating 1 week old rice or 4-day-old rice don't sit well with my spirit. I'm telling you now. I think it's safe to say that for people like myself who are trying to lose weight, our biggest challenge is food. So in today's video, I am going to be talking about how I have been approaching my diet whilst on my weight loss journey, what I have had to unlearn about food, the toxic habits that I have had to confront, as well as how I go about planning my meals for the week. It's giving soccer mom. I'm about to go and pick up my kids from school and go to the PTA meeting. Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you are all doing well. Thank you so much for the love on my last video about starting my weight loss journey. I am so happy that that video was able to help some of you. I am definitely rooting for us all as we embark on shedding these pounds or just getting healthier. So yeah, thank you so much and welcome to some of you who are new around here. If you are new to this channel, if you are new to me and you don't follow me on Instagram, then you won't know, but I have been on a weight loss journey since June 2021. So for the last 8 months, I have been on a health and wellness journey, and that has involved also focusing on losing some excess weight. And over those last 8 months, I have lost a total of 10 kg, which is about 22 pounds. And I'm so proud of that because that is the most weight I've ever lost in my life. But also, I've kind of hit a plateau at the moment. We're not going to talk about it because my scale needs to, we're going to make a breakthrough, sweetie. I serve the Lord of the breakthrough. How about that? I'm also in gym clothes today because I'm actually about to go to the gym. I'm determined to go to the gym today. I'm on a streak. And so let me give you a bit of insight into my relationship with food over the last 24 years of my life. Growing up, my parents are amazing cooks. They always used to throw it down. I used to have home cooked meals, and you know, my parents they raised us on like our cultural foods. We used to sit around like big bowls of fufu with soup and just eat from it and just have our yam and our bordia and our, what else do we use? Loads of rice and stew, of course. Are you a child of Africa if rice and stew is not on your plate all the time? But yeah, my parents used to just feed us, you know, loads of cultural foods. I'm from Ghana. That was what I grew up eating, even though I grew up in London. And my parents were never really big fans of junk food. They just never really fed it to us. Both of my parents actually work in the medical field as well. And so my mum used to make slight adjustments to the food that we ate, such as, you know, lowering the amount of oil, paying attention to the amount of salt. And she used to make us pay attention to the amount of sugar that we would, you know, intake. So we didn't really have a lot of like juice or sweets growing up. That was never really our thing. And so growing up, I used to eat like quite a balanced, nutritious diet. Yes, it was quite high in carbs and stuff like that, but it wasn't anything that was alarming, or I wasn't raised on, you know, junk food or eating out and stuff like that. All of those bad habits developed when I started to be in charge of my food. Now, I've always been a big kid. I've always been overweight. I've always been the biggest of all my friends. I've always been overweight, okay? But even though I was overweight growing up, my parents never really used to restrict my eating. They always used to just teach me, you know, you can have anything you want. Anything in this house is, you know, available to you. But, you know, don't finish everything in one day. You don't have to eat too much, stuff like that. And sometimes I did used to feel a bit like, oh, why am I getting all of this, you know, warnings and disclaimers before I eat food, but my sister isn't. But my sister was never really overweight. And so, you know, growing up, I was mindful of these things. They taught me to be mindful of these things. Sometimes they would police me a little bit, but, you know, they were just trying to love me. But as I grew older and I started to be in charge of my own food, I did start to eat a lot more junk food. And that was pretty much because I had pocket money, and my pocket money was being saved towards socializing with my friends. And socializing with my friends was done in McDonald's. So I had a lot of cheeseburgers, chips, 6 wings and chips, great stuff. Having, kebabs and Chinese and all of that stuff. And when you're younger, you don't really think about metabolism, calories. Like, I wasn't thinking about any of that. I was eating. That was it. And food made me happy. But I also started to develop a very bad habit, which was because I knew my parents didn't like me eating junk food, and we never really used to have junk food, and it wasn't really a big thing in our household. When I did eat junk food, I would never eat it at home. And if I was going to eat at home, I would always hide it. So I started to get into this very bad habit of hiding food. So, I love, to be very fair, fizzy drink. But growing up, we weren't really allowed to have fizzy drink. Like, fizzy drink was for when special guests came over. We drank water and squash, maybe small apple juice here and there, orange juice. But we were never really raised on fizzy drink because my mum, like I said, was quite mindful of the sugar, diabetes, all these things that can run in your bloodline. And so when I was able to start treating myself to these things, I would do it excessively. And because I didn't want to bring it into the house, I would start hiding them. So it was quite disgusting, but like, you'll find cans of drink under my bed, and I'll be hiding food. And because I felt this sense of shame around my body, I also started to feel this sense of shame around food. And so I would eat in front of people. Like, it never got that bad. I would eat in front of people, but I would also then go and eat by myself, and I would eat on top of what I've already eaten, if that makes sense. So I was definitely consuming way too much. And in my teenage years, I started to put on weight a lot more than usual. So it went from, oh, she's just bigger than everybody else, to, girl, your child is hefty. And my aunties were not, shy in telling me, your daughter is gaining weight. They would tell me all the time, obolobo. That was my nickname. That was the biggest of all of them. And it used to hurt, like, don't get me wrong, but my comforter at that time was food. I would turn to food. Even though food was the problem, I would turn to food to comfort me, and food became so attached to emotions. If I was sad, I would eat. If I was happy, I would eat. If we were celebrating, I would eat. If we were not celebrating, I would eat. If we were commiserating, I would eat. If I felt depressed, I would eat. If I just wanted comfort and a sense of fullness, I would eat food, and it would send me to sleep, and I'd wake up, I'd conquer my day, drown my sorrows in some Pepsi. That's what I used to do. And I didn't really think it was a problem, and I would have never, considered it a problem, but I never told anyone about it, right? I never told anybody about these habits. And it got even worse when I got to university. And now, not only was I in charge of my food and my diet, I was also under nobody's supervision. I was free to do whatever the heck I want. If I wanted to stay up at 3 a.m. and eat ice cream, my mother couldn't beat me. How about that? So that's what I used to do. I used to eat like crazy amounts of food, and it just seemed like I was just never satisfied. I was never satiated. The more you get stressed, I think for me, the more stressed I am, I eat. I know some people like, I'm stressed, I've forgotten to eat. Could never be me, honey. Even if I didn't eat during the day, I was gonna find time to eat because food was important to me and I enjoyed food. But the danger was the fact that food was now my source of happiness. It wasn't just that I enjoyed food. Food was my enjoyment. And that was unhelpful for me because it meant that I was eating all the time in order to try and feel happy. And I was using food to try and fill that hole that just isn't filled by food, And as I got in, further into my degree, I was binge eating a lot more, to a point where it did actually become a bit problematic. And I did tell some people who I trust in my life, I was making jokes with my friend Renee, who I'm always talking about, my best friend. And she was just like, yeah, this sounds like some binge eating. Do you wanna talk about that? And she noticed it because she had, had certain patterns through her own journey. If you want to hear about her health journey and just about a health journey in general, which has many ebbs and flows and has developed into a really healthy relationship with fitness, then I will leave a link down below to the To My Sisters podcast, where we were recently talking about diet culture, the fitness industry, weight loss, and all of that. And so definitely check that out. I'll leave that in the description below. But upon having that conversation with her, I realized, okay, I might actually have a problem. And it wasn't until I started therapy during the pandemic that I started to talk to my therapist about food. And she started to, help me realize some of this is not the most healthy. Let's get to the root of this. And I would definitely say, as much as it's amazing to do your own research and, we approach diets, through our own personal agency and we embark on them oftentimes on our own, I think it's so important important to have some form of community or help around you, whether it is professional or just people who you know and love and can trust, to have these conversations with, to help you realize where there may be issues and maybe problems, but also to help you rebuild a healthier relationship with food, your body, fitness, even your mind. And so I spoke to my therapist and I started to realize that I was feeling a lot of feelings of shame, but also deep emotional connections with food. And so if you do want to go on a therapy journey, or you do want to start, talking to somebody, I will leave a link in the description as well to where I get my therapy, which is at BetterHelp. And I do actually have a discount code with them. This video is not sponsored, but therapy literally changed my life, and it was definitely a huge part to giving me the confidence to start reclaiming my health and taking that a lot more seriously, but also giving me an understanding of why I did what I did. And that helped me realize that I could actually change, because what I did had a reason behind it. I wasn't just that way, it wasn't unchangeable. There was a root to this, and so there was a way to uproot it. And so if you do want to embark on that and you just want to have a conversation with somebody, then I will leave the link to BetterHelp in my description as well, and you can get 10% off your therapy journey with that link as well, in case you're interested in it. But yeah, going to therapy, talking about food greatly helped me understand that I had a unhealthy relationship with food, and I was going through a whole bunch. And so in 2021, when I decided that I was going to embark on my health journey, I had to start really telling myself, food is fuel. Food is there to, nourish your body. Yes, it is an enjoyable experience, but it cannot be the only source of happiness you have, because food doesn't actually make you happy. Eating is what makes you happy. You like to eat, okay? And what I didn't want to do, and I was really careful to not do, was start a health journey which was actually me punishing my body. Because I think it's easy to realize that you have this unhealthy relationship with food, or having your whole life not liked your body. It's easy to start seeing food as the enemy. It's easy to start thinking, okay, so food is bad for me. Food is what sent me on this downward spiral. Food is what's made me insecure about my body. And you start to be angry at yourself, and you start to be angry at food. And so you start to see your health journey as a form of punishment, right? You start to punish yourself with exercise, punish yourself mainly also by restricting yourself. You can't eat that. Disciplining yourself so harshly and trying to force, this new gym babe and this new health journey out of you, when actually the health journey is actually very unhealthy. And we talked about that on the podcast, so I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it was important for me to realize that I do enjoy food, right? Food has been a huge part of my life. I have fond memories of the meals I would have growing up with my family, and that being a place of bonding and just enjoying new flavors. But there's a difference between really enjoying food and just eating too much. And I had to just be honest with myself, girl, you eating too much. But let's understand why. Why are you eating so much? What does the eating do for you? But even then, in approaching diets and being restrictive, or, because at the end of the day, if you're trying to lose weight, it all comes down to a calorie deficit. I ain't got to tell you all that. You're smart. It all comes down to a calorie deficit. Eating less than your eating less, burning more. Yes, that's the core principle. So I had to really start thinking about the fact that I tried to diet before. I tried to put myself on these restrictive diets. I tried to say I'm never going to eat that again because that's what's going to help me lose weight. And even if I saw results, I realized quickly I was not happy, and I didn't want to go on another weight loss journey which just felt like suffering and struggle. No, I'm too precious for that. I just can't do it anymore. And so what I realized was it's okay to enjoy food. Like, it's actually all right. And food is not your enemy. Food is not the enemy here. Your relationship with food is what's dysfunctional, right? And so repair that relationship with food. And so I started to talk to more people who had, lost weight, but also watching content as well around people who had been rebuilding their relationship with food and their experiences, and really relearning what food is really meant mindful for me, and also what food means to me. And so I decided that on this diet that I was going to go on, yes, I was going to have to restrict my calories because that's the premise of weight loss, but I wasn't going to punish myself through those restrictions. And I also was going to try and make this an enjoyable experience. And I think a lot of us think that dieting and, you know, going on a health journey is actually meant to not be enjoyable because, you know, it's that discipline, it's that military mindset. But actually, as cliche as it sounds, it really is about that lifestyle change, but more importantly, about doing something which is actually sustainable long term. As I've just described, my whole life, I've had this really turbulent relationship with food. But what I had to start telling myself was, you can repair that relationship with food and have it repaired for the long run, right? Have a better understanding of food and have that be sustainable. This is not just a short-term thing. I'm not just gonna cut my calories in half and, you know, lose weight in 12 weeks and then go back to who I used to be. If this is gonna be a holistic journey of glowing and growing and getting better and becoming better and developing myself and building my confidence and building my body, I have to do something which I enjoy, which doesn't feel like punishment, which I don't feel like I hate. And for me, restrictive diets feel that I hate them. I don't like it. I don't. And it's not sustainable for me. And I know I'll hate myself if I keep starting a diet and failing at it because I've rigged myself up to fail in the first place, because it's not realistic. If I tell myself, child of the motherland, that I am never going to eat rice again, I'm lying. I'm setting myself up to fall, and that's not good. And so what I wanted to do was set myself up for success. And so having spoken to different people and done research by watching videos like this and watching other people who were talking about their diets, I realized that what would work best for me and what was most realistic and sustainable for me would be to take on a high protein diet, where the main thing I basically focused on was having a high amount of proteins in my diet from healthy whole food sources, and that was it. I do track my calories every single day using the MyFitnessPal app, and all I do is log in there. This is how much protein I want to have every day. These are how many carbs I want to have every day. This is how much fat I want to have. And I also pay attention to micronutrients. So those are the 4 categories that I really pay attention to when it comes down to what am I eating. Am I getting in enough protein to help with my muscles being rebuilt, especially because I am weight training as a form, well, my main form of exercise is weight training. Number 2, am I getting in enough carbohydrates and fats to fuel my day? Well, that's number 2 and 3. Am I getting in enough carbohydrates and fats to fuel me so that I do feel full as well, and so that I do enjoy my food? I think carbs and fats are what makes food enjoyable. And then micronutrients, sugars, salt, vitamins, minerals. Am I getting in the things that actually are helping me, you know, be healthy, look good, glow and truly glow, but also helping my bones, calcium, fiber, helping my bowels? Am I getting all of these things in as well? Because they are equally as important. I can't live my life on chicken, broccoli and rice, because where's the micronutrients gonna come from? Where's the vitamin A? You know, things like that. And so those are the 4 categories I look at in terms of my food, and that's what I punched into MyFitnessPal. And there is loads of resources out there which I'm going to leave in the description box. YouTube channels which I love, which break down how much protein should you be eating. Are carbs actually bad for you? Should you, you know, intermittent fast and all of that? But my approach to my diet really is, I do intermittent fasting, so I don't have breakfast in the morning. In terms of when I do eat, is high protein meals, and I definitely plan my meals around protein. And so if there is a way for you to, you know, track whatever way you want to eat, you may not want to be on a high protein diet, it might not matter to you. You may want to cut out carbs from your diet, do what works for you. For me personally, I have a moderate amount of carbs and fats, and then I have a high amount of proteins to help with my muscles being rebuilt. And I just literally Google was my best friend on this journey. I've just Googled high protein sources. You know, I can come on this video and act like I'm so clued up, but really it's just been about me listening to other people's journeys and listening to what other people are doing and just Googling a whole bunch of stuff. So I Google things like high sources of protein, or, you know, things like that. And having searched these things, what are ways to get protein into my diet, I found chicken breast, turkey mince, eggs, what else do I use? Obviously like supplemental protein, so protein powders, which I rely on a bit less now because like I said, my aim is to actually eat real food and to feel full. So I do have a good appetite. Your girl can eat and I like eating. And for me, it's about focusing on, okay, what can I eat that will make me feel full, that will also give me enough protein so that I can hit my protein goal and also work within the other macros which I have for myself. And the more you tweak with these meals, the more you'll actually find that it gets easier and you start to know what your body likes, what it doesn't like, what makes it feel full, what doesn't make it feel full. When I first started, I was eating, you know, loads. I was eating really high volume foods which were very low calorie because I was just trying to eat as much as possible. And what I started to realize was it was actually becoming hard for me to reach my calorie goal, and that was a very weird dilemma to have. I suddenly wasn't eating enough, but I felt full. And so I had to dial it back a bit, and I had to, you know, start incorporating things which I called bad because they were calorie dense. So for example, initially I completely cut out bread, right? I love bread. Everything about, I think in my first YouTube video here, I was talking about how if there was one thing I wanted to have right now in this moment, it would be a sandwich because I love bread, right? But I decided, you know, bread is bad for you. So I cut out bread from my diet. And then when I was, you know, punching my stats into my fitness pal, I was struggling to meet my carb intake. I was struggling to get enough carbs into my body to help fuel my workouts. I was starting to feel very sluggish and very tired. I felt as though I was weak. And so I had to bring back bread. And if you want me to make a video about the mistakes that I made when it came to diet in the beginning, I definitely will because there were many. But also I can talk about some of the things that I did very well because I pat on the back, there were some things I did great. Some foods that I found that helped me as well. So I can make that kind of video for you. I think I will actually, I think I'll enjoy doing that. And so that is all about the way that I eat in terms of my diet, high protein. And so when it comes to what I actually eat in a week, I plan my meal ideas around what are the sources of protein I am going to have this week. So I know for myself, I don't eat red meat. And so the main sources of protein which I find myself leaning towards are chicken breast, turkey mince, eggs, fish, and, you know, other things from the sea. And other sources of protein such as a protein shake here and there, or I have started to put, for the last, I would say 6 months, I have been using collagen, which is why my skin has been looking so supple. I've been aging back, I'm only 24, this is actually youth. I have started to drink collagen, and collagen is actually a source of, well, marine collagen is definitely a source of protein as well. So in every cup of coffee I have in the morning, I put in a scoop of vital protein, which is 18 grams of protein in the 20-gram scoop. Now, I could sit here and I could tell you my macros, but I'm not a scientist, I'm not a nutritionist, and so don't just adopt what I eat because you are a different weight, you have different needs, you may have different body goals than I do, and so also I am 6 foot tall, so if I do throw out things like calories and calorie intakes ever on my journey, please remember I am tall, I am big. I may need more food than you or less food than you. We're all very different, and the amount of food people need is very different. And also the things that you like or don't like may be different from me as well. So like I said, I'm giving these meal ideas simply as ideas and maybe just things that you can start to look into for your own journey, but definitely go and look into people who are trained in this and experts in this, because I don't want to lead you astray. I want to see you succeed, okay? And so in terms of the way I plan my meals, I think about what are going to be my main protein sources this week. And so I do eat, well, I try to eat 3 meals a day. Sometimes I will have 2. However, what I do is I think about in my breakfast, what is going to be my main sources of protein. For my lunch, what am I going to have as my main sources of protein? And the same for my dinner. I do think about my meals for the entire week. Now, I don't necessarily meal prep as in like portion sizes for every meal of the week. I am not there I don't think I ever will be, because something about eating 1 week old rice or 4-day old rice don't sit well with my spirit. I'm telling you now. And so I don't meal prep in that sense. However, what I do meal prep in the beginning of the week, well, whenever I've run out of food, is my protein sources. The things that I will prepare fresh on a daily basis, just because I do enjoy cooking. I find it relaxing when I'm cooking for myself. When I'm cooking for other people, that's a stressful event. But when I'm cooking for myself, therapy. So I will make my carb sources or my vegetables or, you know, things like that fresh. I make my breakfast fresh every morning, and then I will add my protein sources, which I have prepped at the beginning of the week. And so I'll buy some chicken breasts, season those, put those in the oven, and have them in the fridge. You can even put them in the freezer just to have on hand. Sometimes I can have chicken breast with just some vegetables on the side, or I'll cut up that chicken breast and put it into, you know, a quick stir-fried rice, or I'll put them into like some stir-fry noodles with some vegetables, or I might want to put them into like a stew or put them into some tacos, whatever it may be. I just have that chicken on hand. And so throughout the week, my actual meal may vary, but the protein source is always there. I have, you know, lowered the amount of junk food that I eat. I still have a cheeky McDonald's here and there. It's not even cheeky, I just have McDonald's from time to time. My favorite place to eat out is like Nando's, but because I'm growing in understanding food a bit better, I know what I can order pretty much from any menu. I try to stay away from oily foods, because if you knew the amount of calories that were in oil, just go and research it. And that's another thing, just research more about the food that you're eating, you know, if that works for you. I know some people don't want to become so critical and obsessive over their food, but I do think it's important to know, to a degree, things about the things that you're putting in your body. So, you know, oil, how many calories are in that? You know, if you are going to calorie count, which is what I do, how many calories are in, you know, 1 teaspoon of oil that I'm using to fry my egg? You'd be shocked. You would think, you know, I'm eating 2 eggs, that's healthy. Yeah, it is, you know, and oil is not bad for you either, but it really is all about moderation. Having that understanding of, I can eat everything, but not everything is beneficial to me. I can eat everything, but in moderation. That has really liberated me and helped me to really put down those labels of good foods, bad foods, and also some of the foods that you may consider to be bad may actually be better for you calorie-wise than the foods that you consider to be good. You know, some people are sitting down eating a whole bag of cashew nuts. If you look at how many calories are in that compared to a burger, you might be shocked. You just might be shocked. And so that's what I would say in terms of looking at, not only looking at the calories, how much energy am I taking in, and am I expelling that much energy to need that much? How nutritious is this food? How much protein is in it? How many fats are in it? Some foods may be lower in calories, but they're so high in fats that they might not be worth, you know, eating. And so structuring my diet that way, monitoring my eating that way has really helped me, because I think a lot of people, you know, will be like, I don't need to track, and I don't think everybody needs to track, but I do think as somebody who for a long time hasn't had a good understanding of food, has struggled to understand, you know, food as fuel, it's good to just get an idea of how much am I actually putting into my body, what is it being used for, do I feel full or not, you know, am I tracking what is making me feel lethargic, what is making me feel sleepy. All of that is just helping me repair my relationship with food, just taking a log of it. For some people, you won't need to actually track your calories in order to do this. You know, you don't need to use MyFitnessPal to track your food. You can just have, you know, a food diary and just write down, you know, I ate this, I ate that, this is how I felt at the end of the day. For some people, they don't want to track their foods at all. They can, you know, rely on eating intuitively and just relying on knowing this is what's good for me, this is what's bad for me. I think it's important to just do what works for you to build a relationship with food which is actually healthy. And that is essentially how I approach my eating on a weekly basis. I go onto the internet to find meal ideas, high protein meal ideas as well, and I track my meals on MyFitnessPal, making sure that every single day I am hitting my daily protein goal, and I just try to make sure as much as possible that I actually enjoy my food. I'm definitely more than happy to make more videos on meal ideas and what I eat in a day, as well as the hacks that I have found in terms of being able to eat more whilst on a calorie deficit. So let me know if you would like to see more of that kind of content, but I really hope that you did enjoy this video. I do hope that it helped you. I'm about to go and get my gym on, baby. And then I'm going to go and make myself some food because I'm actually very hungry, having talks about all this food right now. But yeah, I, as always, am really rooting for you on your glowing and growing journey, whatever that looks like for you. Hope this video was helpful. Definitely give it a thumbs up if it was. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and turn on your notifications so that you never miss a video from me. Drop me a comment down below as well, letting me know your thoughts, and I will talk to you very, very soon. And as always, stay beautiful and stay blessed. Mwah.